we shadows have irritated you, do not take it bad, but think you have slept. And this is a vision of the imagination. We offered you nothing more than a dream. Magic, fairies, servants of the fairies, leaks, dreams. All this in one word: love. William Shakespeare was born in Stratford-upon-Avon in 1564. He was an English poet and playwright. His father was a merchant and his mother belonged to a family of small land. In 1582, he married Anna Hathaway, with whom he had 3 children. It is considered one of the greatest figures of literature of all time, one of the leading exponents of the English Renaissance, one of the few writers that are able to excel in both tragedies and comedies, known as well as being one of the few able to combine the popular taste with complex characterization of the figure and poetry with philosophical depth. A Midsummer Night's Dream was probably written between 1595 and 1596. This comedy is one of the first written by Shakespeare. His works have been translated into many languages and staged all over the world. Have got the fortune to go to see the theatrical performance of A Midsummer Night's Dream here in Rome on July the 12th of this year at the Globe Theatre of Silvano Toti. And in my opinion, you can't deeply understand Shakespeare's work if firstly you don't go to the theater to see it. The theater, that place in where the fantasy really reign, with the few things that are on the stage, is an art, a game of lights and thoughts reconstructed without cinematographic effects. The main themes of this play are the romantic love and the marriage, and many are among the scholars of Shakespeare to believe that this play was written as a light entertainment to be represented during a wedding of some patron or noble, which we don't know the historical identity. There are many films that are inspired by this work of Shakespeare, but that one of Michael Hoffman in 1999, in my opinion, is the best film ever represented. The play of light with the fairies recreated by small wandering lights and the light heartedness that conveys you is not conveyed in other films. We are at the beginning of the 19th century, and the marriage was rarely a question of love. This work of Shakespeare relates the adventure and misadventure caused by a magical twist of Oberon, Elf's king, and his servant, of 2 guys madly in love who run away from the usual obligations that families requires. In the film, there is a subplot that tells us the hilarious story of Bottom and his colleagues, who go into the woodland to prepare the staging of the play of Pyramus and Thisbe, which has to be represented at the wedding of Teseo, Duke of Athens, and Hippolyta, Queen of the Amazon. It is in this woodland that happened everything, a dense forest of misunderstanding and misconception. A king and a queen quarrelsome, spiteful goblins, and magical creatures are the ideal ingredients for a fun comedy, but also full of poetry and delicacy. In A Midsummer Night's Dream are mixed up the events of humans and gods, a mixture of Greek theater and modern theater. In fact, the events are moved by gods, but as modern theater, also the character of the characters are crucial. A real theorem based on love, but also based on the nonsense of the life of men that run and scramble to love each other, that fall in love in a mysterious way. They meet each other for a series of chances which are not masters. Again, sometimes funny, sometimes cruel, of mirrors and Chinese boxes that reveal how human life is subject to unexplained changes. Men rush in a mad circle, and in the meantime, fairies make mock of them to satisfy their whims. The dispute between Oberon and Titania, Queen of Fairies, It disrupts the nature and the season. Meanwhile, a magical flower breaks the dynamics of lovers. In fact, they exchange rules and lovers. It is said that Cupid shot his famous arrow to get fall in love two guys, but unfortunately, he missed the target, and his arrow ended up in a garden full of flowers. Now, this flower is considered magical. Flower juice spilled on the face of those you love will get in love the first thing he will see when he will open his eyes. Shakespeare is capable of playing with words, creating extraordinary twists, and then come out with a happy ending. Fairies, magic, play an important role in the film. Everything is concerned in those woodlands where everything happens. People who first love you now hates you. People who first hate you now loves you. The differences between the original book and film of Hoffman of 1999 are the names of the various characters, made a bit more funny than the literary translation of the book. It looks like to live a dream of a midsummer night, that night when you are running after the man you love without even knowing why. That night when you do everything possible to ensure that he will consent to you. That magical night where anything can happen under a starry sky, and magical transport you elsewhere, in another world, outside the real problems, and in a place where only love reigns. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is surrounded with a sleep. So, now let's close our eyes and start dreaming. Good night and sweet dreams.